Oh, crap.
You hate it?
No, I love it.
I knew it. I'm smart.
Bob's Burgers, Season 16. Let's talk about it. Hello, friends, and welcome to my commentary corner. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back because I love having you in my corner. Season 16 of Bob's Burgers. Okay. I was gonna give my cat a chance to be okay, but he's not gonna be okay. So let me remove him real quick. I have to take a momentary break also for the train. Sorry, I'll be right back. Before I was so rudely interrupted, I was saying that I've had a couple people mention that they would like to hear my thoughts on the most recent season of Bob's Burgers. So I'm gonna give that to you. I'm sure that some of you are aware that season 16 isn't quite finished yet. I think they're supposed to have 15 episodes per season now, but it is renewed until season 19. So thank goodness we know that there's more Bob's Burgers to come for at least a little while. Also, maybe it was a blessing in disguise that I got interrupted because I hadn't turned on my other lights and all that. I didn't have the proper ambiance. So now we're ready to go. We're a content creator. But anyways, season 16, let's jump into it. So of course there are 10 episodes out currently. They have not quite finished the season yet. I think that they're doing some changes, and I think Fox as a whole is having some schedule changes with The Simpsons, Family Guy, other TV shows, so I think they're just making some moves. And it's affecting our Bob's Burgers, unfortunately. But that's okay. We can wait. We're patient people. Patience is a virtue. And if you can't wait, then, well, I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, the first episode, of course, is the grand pre-opening. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm just going to go through each episode and give like a short synopsis, I guess, and kind of tell you what I think about just the overall plot and story of the episodes, and then I'll dive into more of my thoughts on the season as a whole and the feelings that it gives, I guess. I don't know, but I'll mainly do it through each episode and my explanation of it. Sorry, I need to hydrate. Okay, you know how your mouth be getting dry when you talk too much. This episode was inspiring, honestly, and something that I personally enjoyed a whole lot because, of course, it's showing the backstory of how Bob's Burgers got started. Of course, the restaurant, not, anyways, you get it. Linda and Bob are married somewhat recently, I guess. They're both doing conventional 9-to-5 jobs that they are not a fan of. And of course, Bob has a dream of opening a restaurant and cooking his own food for people and all of that instead of just working as a chef at someone else's restaurant and just doing the same exact thing every single day. He's just tired of it, and Linda's tired of her job. And Linda is the one who finds the space to lease for the restaurant, which of course is on Ocean Avenue in Seymour's Bay. Of course they have to go and ask for a loan from the bank, which they are very mean at. I don't know why, it's just like such a running theme with the bankers. They're bankers. Whatever. Yeah, they're bankers. They work at the bank. They're just like, I don't know. They're just rude, man. But I do find it funny that the predecessor of like that white balding man who's the banker for them now in the show was also like kind of a rude lady. He's somehow even more rude.
You do not qualify for the local business incentive loan.
Oh.
Who are you again?
This is Mr. Dowling. He's shadowing me today.
Will you give us a loan?
That's not how banks work.
I was just seeing if he was nice.
I definitely wouldn't give you a loan. Denied.
So, why am I so out of breath? Oh my gosh. I need to take a deep breath. Calm down. I don't know why I'm freaking out. Maybe I'm just excited. Anyways, so the loan is rejected, which is unfortunate, especially after they got the okay from Mr. Fishoder, who had already kind of taken a liking to them, specifically Bob, of course. I'm sure from that first moment, he reminded him of his father, so that's sweet, but took a chance on them. And then, of course, having to use Linda's money that she's been saving for a condo to open the restaurant, and Bob is very nervous about this, as he is about everything. What is Bob not nervous about? That brings you back to the very beginning of the episode. It starts in present day, of course, where Bob is raising the price of their original, like, regular cheeseburger, and he's nervous to raise it. And it's just $1, but he's still just, like, kind of paralyzed by that fear. And they haven't changed the price in, like, a decade, or, like, since they opened the restaurant. And Linda is like,
Come on, Bob. I thought you were finally okay with this.
Well, I was drinking wine then. I was wine brave.
Bob, raising our prices once a decade is not a big deal. Also, it's how we're gonna do stuff like pay our bills and stay in business.
So you kind of just see from the beginning, Bob has always been just hesitant and nervous about change and taking risks, really. And it's understandable, it's called a risk for a reason. And of course, Linda was pregnant. It was just a whole lot of change. all at the same time. But I appreciated so much just all of the little details in this episode. I love how you see the dynamic of Linda and Bob and how pessimistic and negative he can be versus her overwhelming optimism. And though Bob is a dreamer and he's creative, he's not the person to push the pedal and go, and Linda is that for him, so she's the pusher for him. And I feel like she was just the perfect partner for him from the very beginning, because if she wasn't around, he probably just would have stuck with the safe option of working in a restaurant where he probably had health benefits, insurance, all of that, and waited for the perfect moment to start his dream. And as we all know, if you've started something before, a passion project, whatever, there is no perfect moment. You kind of just have to go for it, you know? And even if you do find said perfect moment, oftentimes things will still go wrong. Anyways, that's just life. You gotta go for stuff, people. That was kind of this channel, like social media. I went for it. And you know what? I'm thankful that I'm at the point where I'm at, but still got a whole lot more to go. And it's been years. So yeah, dreams take a long time to be realized. But I think what I appreciated about the episode too is just like all of the little details that are so reflective of real life. And I've said this before, I feel like Bob's Burgers does so incredibly well at just showing you real life circumstances. It was not easy for them to start this restaurant. The loan was rejected. They had very little money to start with, a baby on the way. And even when they did open the restaurant, Bob couldn't stop getting sick. And then the baby came on the opening day of the restaurant and they had to do another grand opening. And then they had to do another grand opening and another, you know. So things just weren't perfect. But like they worked with what they had and they had to make sacrifices. And I just appreciate that. A couple of little things that I liked too was their bedside tables were like crates and boxes. And I was like, wow, like the writers of this show, they just know what they're doing. Because like, I'm sure most of us have been there. Like you don't even have proper furniture yet, you know, it shows just like you're starting from bare bones. And even if you maybe can get a new house or an apartment or whatever, you know, maybe you just have an airbed or like a mat on the ground that you can use in the new place that you're in. And, you know, so them just working with what they had and putting their lamps on crates and boxes for their bedside table, I was like, I loved that little touch. It just feels like real life. So that was cool. And then, of course, even just like the Speedo guy, him being like a lawyer and then realizing this is not for me, and Bob's Burger literally changed his life. So just like all of those things that kind of, I don't know, a butterfly effect. It made changes down the road that he probably is not aware of. Something that I noted too is that Jimmy Pesto was not in business whenever Bob started. Bob was first on that street, at least between the two of them. And so I found that interesting. I was like, I looked out the window and I didn't notice it on my first watch through. I was like, oh my gosh, Jimmy Pesto's isn't open yet. So that's kind of cool. And then something else that I found interesting is that Bob quite literally transferred his anxiety and his anxious nature to Tina.
I'm so excited to meet you and to open the restaurant. We're doing both at the same time. It's crazy. Are we crazy? I mean, are we?
Okay, that's good.
But I feel like that's also the case, and that's what you hear with like parents and children, is that you tend to transfer your worst traits to your children. And so that's why it can be so frustrating sometimes, because it's like fighting a young you know? Even just like speaking to her through Linda's belly and kind of voicing those anxious thoughts to her. It's like that all kind of made an impact on her. And so that's something that you just have to be mindful of. Kids really do pick up traits and habits and attitudes and all of that. And I'm not a parent though, so yeah, you know, what do I know? Wow, this is gonna take forever. I am talking so much more than I thought. I might have to make this a two-parter. I don't know. Or this is just gonna be a long behind video, which I was not anticipating because I have to do 2 videos this week. We're gonna keep rolling. All right, episode 2, because we gotta keep this train moving. Till Death Do Us Art. Of course, this is a Gale-centered episode. Y'all, I like to skip over this one because, yeah, Gale is just not really my girl, and that's fine. We all have a character that we're not a fan of. She is not one of mine. But of course, just a brief synopsis is she is working, you know, doing an art exhibit. She's working with other artists and jumps in the sack with 2 different guys and then sees Bob and Linda interacting and how sweet that they are with one another and their loving connection, and decides that she wants that for herself. First, she decides, like, I want to have that partner for life, so I want to get married. And what better circumstances to do this under than through an art exhibit?
I'm getting married!
What?
For the peace!
Oh.
And in real life.
What?
Who's the lucky wiener?
Dean. Or Victor, I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
They think it'll make an interesting art piece.
Okay, so it is just for art.
Yeah, but also for life.
But it's going to be a surprise until the ceremony, and I'll decide then. awful idea, as we're all aware. Linda's the only one who seems to try to convince her sister that this is an awful idea. Everyone else is just going along with it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Y'all need to get it together. Daggum. Look out for this woman, but also like help her understand she makes some foolish decisions. So yeah, they go through all kinds of shenanigans, and Gail ends up realizing, oh, I like the idea of marriage and having like loving commitment and all of that, but I've realized like I would prefer to be single. Like I like my alone time. I like being by myself, basically. More power to her. Love that. And there need to be a lot more people like that. And so she ends up marrying herself. Whatever. At least she didn't get into a contractual relationship, so that's cool. Or at least with another person. That one was whatever, but I tend to skip it because Gail was just being absolutely ridiculous, per usual. Moving on into episode 3, which is the twinninging. This, of course, is the Halloween episode, and this is more of a Teddy-centered episode. And it's funny because Teddy is a whole lot to deal with, just emotionally and all of that. He's just an extreme and intense character. But I actually don't really hate his episodes. So he starts to work for the business next door that always changes pretty much every episode. And it's this occult shop that is creepy and all of that. And the guy who owns it has a twin. They're these two British guys and they're creepy in every sense of the word.
I have a mask in this box. We need to lock it in there as soon as possible. I would keep the mask with me, but I don't want to be in the car with it that long because it is powerful and terrifying and I would not feel safe.
So they're freaking Teddy out. Well, Teddy has only met one of the side of the twins, one of the guys. He doesn't even know that this man has a twin until he tells him and he says, okay, so I'm going to leave for a while, but whenever I come back...
Do not let anyone into this store tonight. Not even me. Because there's a very good chance it won't be me. It will be someone who looks like me.
But if it's not you, who is it?
My brother, Gideon. Some people call him my evil twin.
So Teddy's like, oh, okay. He comes back and it's his twin and he's trying to convince Teddy to let him in. And Teddy's giving him all of the secret password stuff because Teddy is not the brightest. And shenanigans ensue. But also during this time, something that I enjoy is the dynamic between Teddy and the kids. I feel like he really does feel like an uncle to them, you know, and I feel like he would have done really well if he actually was their real uncle. But the kids give him walkie-talkie and are talking to him throughout the process because he's also working in this shop at nighttime to finish a job that is on a time crunch. And so they're talking to him, want to hear if anything crazy happens in the shop. It's just fun to see their banter back and forth.
So was that guy you were talking to a vampire or Satan himself?
He dropped off the scariest mask I've ever seen in my life, so that's here with me now. Oh, and at some point his evil twin brother might show up and try to steal it.
Amazing.
Teddy ends up getting in the middle of the mess between these twins, and they're just being super creepy. Eventually things are fine at the end of things. But of course Teddy is like, please get me out of here. Like, I never want to work with you guys or be around you ever again. That one was fine. It was alright as a Halloween special, but there have been better. And then moving on into episode 4, which is the skids in the hall. This is focused on Tina mainly as a hall monitor. She gets fired at the very beginning of the episode, supposedly because she is just kind of a narc.
You're fired from hall monitors.
Whoa. Hey, it's my first mistake.
There have also been complaints. Not cool, North Korea-ish.
Okay, well, yeah, of course the kids I write up are going to complain.
Tina, these are from your fellow monitors.
So she gets kicked out of the hall monitors, which really gets to her, of course. And then it turns out she was set up. The reason why she was fired is because she wasn't at a post that she was supposed to be at, but that's because there was another issue that was happening at the same time. So that's why she wasn't there. But it turns out someone did that on purpose and they were trying to get her fired basically, but they just needed a reason to get her out of there. And this was because the kids were doing sock racing through the hallways, which is a big no-no for the kids. Well, then she figures out that this problem goes deeper than she ever thought and that the hall monitors are in on it, except for her, of course. And so it's a corrupt system all the way to the top. And so she catches the culprit and gets her to confess on camera her criminal activities.
You're not a hall monitor anymore, Tina.
Yeah, you made sure of that, didn't you? But you are a hall monitor, Maggie. You're here to protect them.
You don't get it. 7th grade boys are gonna do this kind of crap no matter what. So we might as well get some pink sugar puffs out of the situation.
And cut. I think we have what we need.
Huh?
We got you.
And so that one was fun. It was just kind of kid shenanigans and all of that. I do like it when the kids have some kind of crazy adventure that they go on. Yeah, the kids basically ran like a sting operation or whatever. Is that what it's called? I think, yeah, a sting. What does that mean? Why is it called a sting? Does it have to do with bees? Anyways, moving on to episode 5, which is the secret garden. Not with an E though, with an I. Per usual, the kids are messing around in their parents' room when they're not supposed to. Well, not all the kids, only Jean and Louise, because of course Tina is a rule follower. She finds them in there, she's babysitting, and so Bob and Linda aren't home. She tells them to get out of there, and she's trying to arrange some things on her mom's vanity. And she has all of the porcelain baby dolls that she loves, and Tina picks up one of them, drops it, and
This carpet is saving the day. Oh my god!
You broke the baby!
And so then the whole issue is Tina trying to order another one and replace it so that her mom doesn't notice that one of her precious porcelain babies is broken. But the other issue is that Louise goes to the dentist and she has to get some work done, and they give her laughing gas. And so she's super loopy, but that also means that her inhibitions are way down and her lips are loose, and so she's just a liability. And Tina is trying to keep her quiet the whole time.
We should talk about Tina's face. Tina, why do you look so scared? Your face is like, whoa. Talk to us, baby.
No, I'm not scared. I'm so chill.
So it's just frustrating, but she does end up being able to replace the baby doll without her mom knowing. It's funny because by the end of the episode, you find out that Bob and Linda were actually trying to keep something from the kids. And so that was like happening at the same time. They were both trying to keep something from each other, and they both succeeded in keeping the secret from each other. So that was kind of fun.
Louise didn't blab to Tina and Jean that we let her stay up late and watch that horror movie without them a few weeks ago.
Glad you stayed close to her. That was a good plan.
Jean and Tina have no idea.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I don't know. I'm thinking I might need to make this a two-parter because I also have a second video this week, and I'm at a good halfway point, 5 episodes in, and I could do the next 5 next time. I really don't want you to be upset with me, but I also have to take care of me. I also just like can kind of feel like a headache starting, and so like that's not great. But we could keep these good vibes going for the next time. I was not planning on this, but I also just realized I had a lot more to say on season 16 and the episodes than I originally thought I did. So I feel like this is a game time decision. I apologize, but we will be continuing this next time. And you know what I'll do for you guys, instead of usually what I'll do is on the off week, I'll have a crossover video, but I won't have a crossover video. I'll just have a part 2 of my season 16 review of Bob's Burgers. How about that? It's not the best option, but it's what I got for you right now. I love you guys. Please don't hate me. All right, well, if you guys liked this video, please hit that like button for me, and also hit that subscribe button so that you can get the alerts and see when the second part of this video comes out, and so that you can see this face a whole lot more. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.